Hammer subscribers and viewers. Tonight's episode of APN's Jersey Shore podcast will not be streaming. Our scheduled host, The Hammer, Damon Galdo, is a candidate for New Jersey Congress. He is currently speaking at a New Jersey GOP event. Thank you for being a loyal subscriber and viewer. APN's Jersey Shore podcast will return next week at its regular scheduled time. The Jersey Shore podcast is replaying the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Pi Mu Omega chapters Meet the New Jersey Primary Candidates Facebook stream.
Good evening and welcome. I am Tisha Middlebrooks, and I serve as the first vice president of the powerful Pi Mu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. On behalf of our president, Deanne Wade Johnson, and the members of the chapter, we welcome you to our Meet the Candidate Forum. This evening, we remind you that your voice matters and your vote matters. Tonight, we are proud to provide a platform where you can hear directly from the candidates and ask the questions that will help you make an informed decision where you cast your vote on June 2nd. As members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the Pi Mu Omega chapter, we remain firmly nonpartisan. Our purpose is not to endorse candidates, but to educate, empower, and encourage informed civic engagement within our community. This forum reflects the mission by providing you with the information you need to participate fully in the democratic process. Please remember that early voting is currently underway. Be sure to check your designated polling location before heading out. If you're a resident of Willingboro, note that some polling sites have recently changed, so verify your location before you venture out. We are honored to have Tammy Pollard leading this evening's discussion. Tammy, welcome, and I turn this evening's discussion over to you.
Thank you, Vice President Tisha, and thank you to the listening audience. Good evening and welcome to our 2026 primary candidate panel discussion. For the next 45 minutes, we will focus on topics at the federal and the local levels. I will pose questions, a variety of them, to each of the candidates. However, given the timeline, they will only have approximately 2 minutes to respond. I am going to ask our listening audience to please submit any questions that they may have by chat, and we will get to those questions as quickly as possible. So let's go ahead and meet our candidates. Let's welcome our 2026 candidates. Today we have Michael Missouri, who is the independent U.S. State Senate American Supreme Order. Damon Galdo, who is the Republican U.S. House of Representative candidate, Herb Conaway, Democrat incumbent U.S. House of Representatives, Randy Brolo, Democrat, Burlington County Board of Commissioners, Jonathan Chapray, Democrat, Burlington County Board of Commissioners, and Brian Carlin, Democrat, Burlington County Surrogates. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to go ahead and jump right into this discussion, and we're going to lead off with Damon. And my first question goes to you, and it is on economic stability. Working families across New Jersey are facing the pressures of inflation, rising housing costs, and shifting job markets. What federal policies will you champion to lower the cost of living and support sustainable economic growth?
Thank you for the question, and we should call this show Outnumbered because I'm the only Republican. It's all Democrats. But that's fine. I love to speak Democrats. They don't come on my show. But affordability is the biggest issue that's facing working families right now. I mean, I'm a construction worker. I'm a superintendent. I build commercial buildings. I feel it just like everybody else does. I mean, I say it all the time on my podcast. I'm like, I actually struggle to pay my mortgage. I work my butt off for it, and I know people are feeling it. So at the federal level, I support policies that reduce, inflationary spending, strengthen domestic energy production. I think that's really important, and encourage American manufacturing, bring businesses back here to the United States. That's an important thing. And also, I would encourage getting. We don't have a lot of vocational schools either anymore, and getting kids that are outside. The way I see it with economic stability, college, I'm not calling it a scam. College is very important for people, but colleges they offer classes that are BS pretty much, and they get kids to come and they charge a lot of money for it. And there's nothing they can do afterwards because they're not going to make any money for that, whatever they chose. I mean, I'm saying if you go for doctor, lawyer, important things like that, or an engineer. But I'll say this real quick. My buddy always says it, and this is kind of a joke. He says, "Oh, you go to college for underwater basket weaving." He said, "And you can't get a job afterwards." And I see that with a lot of young people that they can't afford to buy a home, that they can't afford it. It's too expensive, and they come out of there in debt as well. So that's what I would support.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing. Next, I'm going to go to Michael, and it's around economic stability. That is not our only challenge we are facing. Healthcare access and equity are also concerns. So, what federal initiatives do you support to improve healthcare affordability, protect reproductive rights, and address health equity disparities in the diverse communities?
Well, of course, we can't make healthcare free, so that's a problem. But personally, I do think that it should simply be affordable. Like if any surgery costs like I don't know $5,000, cut it in half, make it $2,500. And as for reproductive rights, I'm a man. I have no say in that. I am not gonna give my opinion on abortion at all. I don't care about it. I'm a man. I can't get pregnant. It doesn't affect me. So, personally, I just want everyone to be able to afford what they need to do and avoid dying. It's that simple.
Okay. So I'm going to go to Congressman Conaway. So, Congressman, are you on the line? I can't see. All right, I'm going to move past that question. So I'm going to throw out a question. This is going back at Michael and Damon. How do you plan to collaborate with both the county and municipal leaders to ensure federal legislation legislation directly addresses local needs like education, funding, public safety, and infrastructure?
So who's going first on this one?
Let's start with Michael.
Well, personally, I don't live in Burlington County, so they don't know who I am yet. This is my first ever debate. So first of all, I thank you guys for letting me have my voice today, because I couldn't get anyone to show who I am. This is the first time. No one's ever seen me before. And so about education, obviously everyone deserves a basic right to education, and if someone can't get it, we're gonna get them that. It's simple.
Okay. Damon, what's your take on it?
Well, I would say, like I said, I'm in construction. One thing I learned that construction teaches you that you very quickly, nothing gets done or accomplished without teamwork. So even on a federal level, I have to work with county officials, state officials as well. Things that I don't even have that I have nothing to do with, but I need to work with them. I need to help them because I look at it bottom up too. So I'm working with a lot of candidates right now that are running for commissioner, running for mayor. So I need to work with them because if they get elected, more chance I get elected. If I get elected, more chance they get elected. So it's all about teamwork, and we can't have a divide. It doesn't matter about the party, really. It doesn't. It matters about the person. It matters about what you're going to do. And if people don't work together, and that's I see a lot in the United States right now. It doesn't matter if it's New Jersey or any other state. I see a lot of division, and people don't have a conversation with each other. They don't talk, and that's the most important thing. Is you need to. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat or Independent. If you're representing everybody, and you have to talk to everyone and everyone that represents them on a lower level as well.
Okay. All right. I'm going to jump back over to you, Michael, for one moment. I know you said that you don't live in Burlington County, and that's perfectly fine for what you're running for. But can you talk to us a little bit about it from the perspective of what would you do in order to support education needs and funding and public safety in the counties where you will be serving?
Well, here in where I'm from, we have really, really controversial school systems. I feel like everyone on that board should be probably removed. And I think that another thing, I feel like there's some families out there that are still struggling to even pay a small portion for school lunches. So I feel like once again, prices should be lower for that. Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. All right. We're going to turn our attention a little bit. We're going to change course and start looking at the local level. So I'm going to come and ask a question to Randy. So Randy, focusing on the fiscal responsibility and affordability, Burlington County has historically aimed to maintain some of the lowest average county taxes in New Jersey. We know that balancing a $281 million budget requires some tough decisions and tough choices. What are your specific priorities for maintaining affordability while ensuring essential county services are fully funded?
I lost you for a little bit, and I want to apologize. I had to pick my daughter up from dance, and she asked for ice cream, so that's where I'm taking her. So I apologize. The last portion of the question, can you repeat that? I'm sorry. I apologize.
Absolutely, no problem. The question is, what are the specific priorities for maintaining affordability and ensuring essential county services are fully funded?
So we hire the best professionals, and we leave it up to the professionals. Listen, I'm not an accountant, but I do go over the budget with a fine-tooth comb, along with 4 other of my colleagues, and we ask a lot of questions But we really rely on our professionals, because the professionals are which really helps us run the county and keep taxes low. And we're very fiscally responsible. I know that a lot of people think that Democrats can't be fiscally responsible, but we're 100% fiscally responsible. While services stay the same, we don't cut any services. If anything, we add extra services. We rely on a lot of grants. And what's going on at the federal level is just a travesty. And what's going on, because they're not giving us federal dollars, but we still fight for those grants. And you know, affordable housing is definitely on the table right now. I think there should be more affordable housing. We should provide housing for the teachers, the doctors, you know, that are coming out of school that have to pay all these loans back. You know, like the gentleman said, he worked in construction. I'm a union tradesman. I'm a laborer. So I was afforded to go and make a good wage because I didn't have a college debt. But some people don't have that, don't have that debt. Some people do have that debt and they have to pay it back. So they need affordable housing. So that's some of the things that we at the county level, we strive to keep going forward.
Okay, well, we're going to come back to talking about housing, but I'm going to move on and ask Jonathan a question. So Jonathan, can you tell us about your plan for economic development and local businesses? We know that new legislation aims to bring urban enterprise zone benefits and reduce sales tax incentive into areas like Burlington City to combat local poverty and to spark growth. But how will the Board of Commissioners under your leadership support small businesses and stimulate growth creation in aging urban centers across the county?
Thank you so much for that question, Tammy. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. And thank you to Alpha Kappa Alpha and Pi Mu Omega for hosting this really important forum. Really appreciate the opportunity to engage on important questions like this, right? Economic development is so critical to our downtowns, to our incredibly historic communities all over Burlington County. I want to thank Senator Singleton, who's championed that legislation on behalf of Burlington City to create a new economic development zone, a new UEZ here in Burlington County. I think that's one piece of it, right? You know, Randy, Brian, and I are out talking to folks all the time across Burlington County, and one thing that is consistent is you know, folks don't care if they live on a local, a county, a state, or a federal road. They care if that road has a pothole, right? And so it really takes all of us together, working with our federal partners, our state partners, with our local folks to develop and maintain our historic downtowns. And let's be real, our small businesses are the lifeblood of our economies. So we all need to be working together to ensure that those small businesses are sustained, that our communities are invested in, and that we continue to have a vibrant place to live and to work here in Burlington County.
So Brian, what is your take on the same question? Can you elaborate a little bit further?
I served as a councilman and mayor in my prior life, 5 years on council, 11 years on mayor. But my position today is kind of is judicial. So I really am not comfortable saying I can give you answers or that I can affect those changes, because it's not the nature of my position. You know, I know the efforts that go into building businesses coming into communities, and that a partnership between private businesses, private entities, the county and the municipalities is critical to making that a success. And that's the best answer I'm going to be able to give you, Ms. Pollard.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to come over to you, Randy, and I'm going to ask you the same question. What are your thoughts around the economic development and local businesses?
So I'm going to echo my colleagues or my running mates' sentiments. Small businesses are the lifeline or the bloodline of our county. We partner with the Burlington County Chamber of Commerce. They're able to come out and do ribbon cuttings and promote the business. We do it through our social media page. You know, the UEZ zone that's going to be happening in Burlington City is going to be a game changer. It happened, you know, it sparked We did it in, I think, in Mount Holly in LD 8 years ago, and it sparked growth. Now, our downtown in Mount Holly looks totally different than it did before it became a U-Easy loan. So I think, I'd like to thank Senator Singleton as well for pushing that legislation.
Okay, thank you. So Brian, I'm coming back over to you.
Okay.
I would like to hear your take on digital modernization and remote services. I know that you are running for the Burlington County Surrogate, and in recent years, modernizing court filings and record keeping has become essential for efficiency. But what's your vision for balancing the digital advancement, things like e-filing systems, updating court rules, and virtual consultations? How will you maintain personalized and empathetic approach and secure face-to-face services for residents who may not be tech savvy?
Thank you. First off, thank you to Alpha Kappa, Alpha Sorority, and the Pi Mu Omega chapter for the invitation to be here. Digital modernization and remote services, tend to increase efficiency, but they do so at the expense of that personal touch. And the surrogate's office is one where people come to us where they're vulnerable. They're kind of thrust into situations where they have never been before. They hear terms like executorships or renunciations, things like that. So that personal touch is critical. And as somebody who represented people and who've come in my private practice doing estate work for 40 years, I know that personal touch is something that is critical in the surrogate's office. I see it over the past 4 years. I've been serving as the surrogate. That personal touch, that feeling of, and we our motto is empathy, dignity, and respect. And so, we live by that in that office, and we've been very effective in doing so. But I guess having that background, I would say that in balancing the benefits of digital modernization and remote services, my default is always going to be erring on the side of providing personalized services, because frankly, that's the lifeblood of doing it. Yes, we have a legal responsibility. Yes, we're going through a legal process, but we also have to be sensitive to people who have never gone through the process before. We deal with the gentleman who's buried his wife, and when you say, "Hey, how are you doing?" He'll tell you, "Hey," and I had a client do this. I just wanted to jump right on top of that casket when we put her to rest, because they're lost. And so digital and digitalization and remote services are wonderful, but I think it has to be measured. I sit on various committees with the surrogates and the judiciary, where I have the opportunity to express my feelings or give some input as to how to implement it. We're talking about going to e-filings through the e-court system, but there are many stakeholders who are involved, and that communication and being able to get on the ground floor of that in the early part at least gets to have my background experience and my tendency towards the personalization to try to maintain that as we start to implement those type of things.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm coming back to Jonathan and to Randy. The county has recently made significant investments in social services, including mobile medical units and the development of a permanent emergency shelter that's on Wood Lane Road. What is your vision for expanding or refining mental health outreach and support systems for youth, families, and individuals re-entering the community? Let's start with Jonathan.
Thank you so much for that question. This is an area of personal passion for me. I spent the last several years having the great fortune of working at the state and serving in a statewide capacity around mental health, substance use, and addiction issues, as well as social safety net issues. So this is an area of deep passion in making sure that we deliver services with compassion and with excellence. And a lot of services for Burlington County residents are delivered at the county level. And as Tammy, as you rightly pointed out, this county commissioners board has made some significant investments around mental health and expanding services, making those investments. But there's so much more that can be done. And I look forward to working with the Board of Commissioners on that. I will say specifically on mental health, there's a few things statewide and locally that have been really incredible advances recently. If anyone's not aware, there's a new 3-digit number to dial for anyone who's in crisis. It's 988. And this is moving away from this is moving toward a more comprehensive setting and system of care in response to mental health crisis. So just a public service announcement for anyone who may have a loved one in a mental health crisis. Expanding availability to naloxone, and the Board of Commissioners have taken settlement dollars that have been hard fought and won from opioid manufacturers who have perpetuated addiction crisis across the nation, and they've reinvested that into the community and into combating addiction. So I'm so proud of what's already been accomplished here in Burlington County, and looking forward to bringing my skills to moving that forward.
And Randy,
my running mate is an expert on this subject. So I will say, when I was my tenure as vice chair as Board of Social Services, we streamlined how people get help. Right, it's more so of like the DMV. You have almost like offices where they can come in, they sit down, they grab a number, and then they're all in the same room and they're not running around the whole building. So streamlining those services and streamlining those way people get help, that's what I would be, pushing forward. So we need to keep moving forward and helping out people that have these situations, because everyone knows someone that's been affected by mental health, right? I'm sure one of us on this call has a family member that might have committed suicide or had drug addiction. And reaching out to the community. We're always in the community. I actually was at an event today where I'm always going to be in the community and be supporting some of our efforts to help people out and about.
So we do have a question from our listening audience, and this goes out to any of the candidates, anyone that wants to answer this. What is your stance on mental health services and supporting people who are unhoused?
Okay, I was going to take, I thought it was another question, but anyone else wants to take that first, that's fine. You can go ahead of me. I'll take it as well.
Go ahead,
I was looking at the data center question because I've been involved.
Yeah, I'll take that question.
Okay.
So, of course, if you're struggling with mental health, I'm here for you. The American Supreme Order is here for you. We care about you. We love you. We want you to vote for me, obviously. And so I've known people that struggle with mental health. I have struggled with mental health before. I really want people to get their help. Once again, I know I sound like a broken record, but mental health services all should be free. And the second question, supporting people who are unhoused. I know some people are not going to like what I'm about to say, but I believe that there's a group of people that should get priority to get a home first, and that is our veterans. It's absolutely ridiculous that some veterans are still on the streets. In my town right now, they're building a veterans village from tunnels to towers. I love that organization so much. I think everyone should support that organization, and we should get every single homeless veteran off the street and into an affordable home.
And Ms. Pollard, I would defer to my two commissioner candidates for the most part, but in terms of the surrogate's office, the fastest growing area we have of work is in the area of guardianships, both for young people turning the age of 18, people who have, have disabilities over the course of time. Obviously, mental health is a big component of that. There are systems in place. The Burlington County Board of Social Services, the Office of Aging are very proactive in getting applications for guardianships, more importantly, temporary guardianships, to take care of those individuals who are unhoused or vulnerable because of their conditions and a danger to themselves and maybe others, or to become victims of designing people. There's a policy in my office that when those type of cases, along with hospital cases where somebody's in a hospital and using a hospital bed, and they're asking to have a guardian appointed to be able to get them moved on, they've peaked, they've plateaued with their treatment, and get them into a facility where their concerns can be addressed. We always prioritize them in how we push them through the system. But but it is certainly something that I see in my office, and I know, just that the response from the county and how the Office of Aging and the Board of Social Services are responding to those concerns. Obviously, that's a small portion of it, and there are other parts of the government that can provide assistance. And as I said, I defer to John and Randy on them as far as those things are concerned.
If you guys want to go, I'll go last. I want to touch on this as well, and then go into another thing. So
I feel like I addressed some of this, so I'll be very brief to just say, when we are putting money into mental health treatment, into prevention, and into making people more productive versions of themselves, this benefits not just that individual, but their family. This benefits their community. This benefits society. This is money that is incredibly well spent, not just from a moral perspective, but also from an economic perspective, from a societal perspective, and I think that this is an area where we can continue to make really smart and strategic investments that will pay dividends.
Randy or Damon?
Okay, I'll go. So mental health and all this, it is very important to me. I can say this because my wife gave me permission. She deals with bipolar disorder. So I know that how important it is to her to talk about this. And plus my brother-in-law, is severely autistic, and he lives in a home. He doesn't speak. So yeah, I support all that, all the funding for it. And so that is a very important thing to me. I can't tell you what I'm going to do about it yet. I don't know what we can do on a federal level to it, to pass legislation. But I would like to try to get Billy Cray laws passed. Billy Cray law is that Martha Cray, her son, he was killed, and he was in a home, and there was no cameras, so nobody knows what happened. And I know Senator Ed Durr at the time tried to push it through. It didn't happen. But I think it's very important. It's very important to my wife. It's very important to my mother-in-law, and my father-in-law, who unfortunately passed recently. But yeah, it's very important to me. And I didn't know if I don't want to change the subject, but I saw about the data centers there. Someone asked about that.
We're going to go there. So just give me a moment and we will get to that topic in 1 second. But I do want to give Randy a chance to jump in on this question. And if not, I do have a kind of a follow-up question that ties a little bit to Brian.
Yeah, so one of the reasons I ran for commissioner last year is I wanted to see if we can provide more services for special needs children and actually adults. So this past year, April 25th, the county, and along with our partners with the Burlington County School Special Services School, we had our first Autism Speaks event. And our surrogate was there, our library commissioner was there, and it was a success. It provided services and talked about, had breakout sessions, and we discussed how to support people with special needs in our special needs community. My son is 9. He's on the autism spectrum, so that's one of my passions, is to help people with on the spectrum of autism. So hopefully I answered your question. So yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So Brian, I'm going to come back to you because from the surrogate's office, from that perspective, I know that there are a lot of things that you handle that are deeply emotional and complex. There are life milestones that are happening, whether they're adoption or the executing the wills of loved ones. But many of our residents only discover the surrogate's office after they're in the middle of a crisis. Like, I can say for my own perspective, I lost my father. I did not know that the office was there until that time. So how, if you're elected, what specific initiatives or outreach programs will you implement to educate Burlington County residents about estate planning and living wills and the probate process before they face an emergency?
From the time I've taken office, have made a commitment to always get out in the community and do presentations to community groups. And it's a very simple process. If a community group has an interest, they reach out to my office, and I generally don't say no because it is something to get out and get people moving, to start to plan. People are better educated today with regards to wills and trusts and things like that, but they don't know about the surrogate's office till they need us. We're the place you take that will. So we've been making presentations to community groups with regards to that. As I said, one of our growth areas has been the guardianship side. And I was proud to participate in the autism awareness event that the Commissioner Brolo discussed, because it gave us entree to get in front of the parents of young people who have children turning 18 and are confronted with what we all are confronted with when our kids turn 18, that by law, they're adults, and they the doctors and people don't necessarily have to talk to mom and dad anymore. So, and it's even more acute in that circumstance because, with the special needs individual, the parents have been really guiding those kids through life, and suddenly they feel powerless. We do. So getting that entree into that community has been something I'm proud of. Improving our website. And I'll be honest, that was something I ran on when I first ran, but because of circumstances such as walking in and at the tail end of COVID and having a conference table full of files that had been backlogged and staff issues with people going out on leave and, turning around and in and out with personnel. I haven't gotten to that as quickly as I would like, but it's certainly something I will do. We put out informational pamphlets that will describe each of the processes. They are being updated right now because it's the different things we do are while they're the same as they were back in the 1800s. They're changing. Digital media. How do you get access to your digital accounts? All part of the educational process. But as I said, getting out, seeing people, and I'm limited because I'm a member of the judiciary, so I have to kind of work our way through, or have to kind of abstain. I also work at the level of the court side. In that I am an active or a regular presenter for CLE courses for attorneys. I participated in a guardianship. I have now participated 3 times in a guardianship program for South Jersey Legal Services that recruits attorneys to help represent people who are going through guardianship. So, and And the last thing is trying to, and we're very vigilant when people come in, particularly pro se's for guardianships, to point them towards the resources that are available through the e-courts system. That's the AOC has a guardianship page that kind of gives you a guideline that you can at least get it filed with us, and then we'll help you work your way through if there's deficiencies.
I just want to say, I wish I would have known you a couple years ago. My wife had to go through that guardianship with her brother.
And you have my sympathy about that, but you did the right thing to help protect her interest.
All right, so let's jump into the question from the audience. There's a concern about data centers. We hear a lot about the data centers and the number of data centers that are popping up all across the country and their safety. Tell me, from your perspective, how would you address the growing number of data centers in communities, specifically in communities that are already having their own issues? How do you address that, and how would you go about it? Let's start with Damon.
Thank you for that question. I was kind of chomping at the bit about that one because I went to a bunch of planning meetings in Monroe Township, and they're trying to build a data center there. I know they just built one in Vineland. I gotta say, first off, the data centers, they're necessary. AI is the future, and we have to beat China out of it and all that. So we're not stopping it, but we have to stop it where these centers are going to go. I mean, in Monroe Township, they're planning to put it in the Pinelands. And when I went to the planning meeting, I looked at the drawings, and they said that they're not going to take from well water but it was a lie. They want to take the well water because it's at 50 degrees when they pull it out, and they don't have to pay for a cooling system because they have to cool down the units. So you don't put it in a protected area like the Pinelands. I know they have to happen, they are the future, but there's a lot of farms in Monroe Township. So it's called coning. If you draw all that well water out, then the farms rely on it. It'll drop the aquifer down lower, and it will shift where wells are as well. So I'm for them, but because I know it's the future, but they can't put them in certain areas, and it's $1 trillion industry. So I'm sorry, pay for a cooling system, take domestic water, so that's what it is. So, that's why I wanted to talk about this, because it's very important with a lot of people that live in Monroe Township, and I know a lot of people in Vineland as well. They are upset with the one that they put there. It just be responsible with it, because you look at the NVIDIA and all these different big stocks and companies that make all the microchips and all that stuff. They're making tons of money, and that's fine. I'm good with capitalism. I absolutely am. But you're not going to throw a data center in the Pinelands that's protected. You can't even cut a tree down in the Pinelands. But now they're saying, okay, we're going to throw a data center there and knock down all these trees, and then guess what? We're going to take all the well water and suck it all up and hurt all the people that have farms. I mean, that's a very important thing to me, and it's important to a lot of people that I know, whether Republican, Democrat, Independent, people just live there. It's an important thing to them. So that's why I wanted to touch on that.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share their thoughts around the data centers and how they would protect the different counties from data centers coming in where they should not be? Oh, you all got shy on me.
Well, I'll say,
Randy,
I am muted. I will say a few things. Partnerships with the developers and ensuring that they're going to build responsibly. We cannot have a developer coming from Arkansas coming up here and not respecting the laws of New Jersey, right? And how we keep our drinking water clean, how we keep our environment clean. We have to have these nice partnerships with these developers, because like the gentleman said, this is the future. And if a town that's going near bankrupt and they want to put a data center there and they're going to add $4 billion to their GDP. So we have to, have partnerships, and it can help out, balance budgets. Maybe that town needs a new fire truck. Guess what? Now they're going to get a fire truck because they have a data center because it's going to be paying there. And it's going to be good construction jobs. And it's also going to be jobs available for after they're built. So you have to have the balance. And that's what good government's all about.
Okay.
We're using a data center right now as we're having this meeting. Let's believe it or not. So
exactly. I want to build it myself. I'm a union carpenter, superintendent. I want to build it, but I just don't want to build it in that area where it's going to hurt people.
So I will just tag onto that and just say, agree with Randy, right? This is all about smart growth and being really intentional and having community input, right? And as Damon pointed out, right, the impact of our resources and the resources that a data center could consume, and what we've seen in other places goes far beyond the immediate community. So we need to be really smart about the regional planning here. I want to commend Governor Sherrill, who announced yesterday some new reforms that would ensure that, as Randy pointed out, that where data centers are being built, that they'll be built with good local jobs that are meeting prevailing wage, that we're supporting our local workforce with that, and that also require extra transparency. And that's really what this comes down to, right? This comes down to concerns about noise. This comes down to concerns about water and electric usage. There's an instance out in Nevada, which is a pretty extreme instance, where the public utility said, we're tapped out and we're going to stop serving residents because a data center came in. And so we need to be really, really thoughtful about this and really smart while leaning into this technology and while making sure that we're capturing these jobs. It's a balance like everything else. And we also need to make sure that, as Randy pointed out, these folks are in it for the long haul, that we're not going to have data centers popping up for this, $1 trillion industry. And then in a couple years, if a bubble bursts, that they're out and they're abandoning that community. So there's a lot of considerations that come into this. And I really appreciate this thoughtful conversation around it, because it really does take a measured approach.
Thank you. All right, we are coming up quickly on the top of our hour. So I am going to shift us a little bit and shift us to something that we're all seeing and hearing about, and that's voting rights and civic engagement. So I'd like for each of you to take, give me about 2 minutes or less and tell me about, if elected, from your position, what steps would you take at the federal, state, or local level to protect voting rights, increase ballot accessibility, and strengthen the public trust in the electoral system? Let's start with Michael.
All right. So voting rights, I don't think they should ever be taken away, and you should vote for whoever you want. And I'm very sure that there are no rigged elections in New Jersey. So just vote for me, and simple. Voting rights is not a priority on the American Supreme Order. It's more like a national level of problems, and I feel like voting rights is not one of them.
Okay. And let's go to Randy.
Okay. So I'm going to say this, and please, hopefully I don't offend anyone, but I'm going to say it anyway. As the only person of color that's on this panel, besides the moderators, this is an attack on Black and brown people. And it's appalling what they're doing at the federal level. They're attacking voting rights. And whatever I can do at the county level, whether it's provide more voter registration, speed up the process for people to be able to vote, more polling locations, I'm going to support it 100%.
Okay. Damon?
Well, Randy, I disagree with you about an attack on Black and brown people for that reason.
It's not a debate, but go ahead and say your piece, though.
I'm saying I just disagree with you because I believe in passing the SAVE Act. Democrats and Republicans alike want to pass the SAVE Act. They think that people should have to show voter ID. So if voter ID is attacking black and brown people, that makes no sense. So black and brown people can't get ID. I think they can. I think they're smart enough to do so. I don't think they're, I don't look down on any of them like that at all. And hearing you speak tonight, I know you're damn smart enough to do it, to get voter ID.
Because I'm a laborer, not a carpenter.
Well, there you go. That's a good shot. But no, you're driving right now. So you have your license. And where do you register to vote? Motor vehicles. So, and then one big thing is we're a sanctuary state as well. And we have 900,000 illegal immigrants in the state. And our state taxes, what we pay in state taxes, we pay $7.3 billion out of our state taxes for illegal immigrants. Now, I'm not saying they're all bad or anything like that. I'm just saying it costs us money. So, but where do they register to vote? Our state gives them licenses and they'll give them IDs. And then you register to vote there and then they can vote. So I don't think it's an attack on black and brown people at all. People that live here that are citizens, they know how to get an ID. So I don't agree with that statement at all. I think we need to have voter ID. I think it's very important because you want to know who's voting for who. My sister just to test it out the last election, and she went and she would sign her name all the time, and they would have her signature from before. She went and just signed an X, and they let her vote. So how does that happen? I mean, they looked at her signature beforehand from the years before, and then she signed an X. She just wanted to try it, and they let her go vote. So yes, I think there's a lot of things that we need to do with voter protection. I'm part of the voter integrity. A friend of mine is, and I talk to them all the time about this stuff, and they found so many things. I mean, I can't get into all of it because for the sake of time, but there is an issue with it. I'm not saying that everything's fraudulent. That, like, say Jack Chiarelli got beat by 600,000 votes or whatever. I'm not saying he was cheated out of it. A lot more people came out for Michael Sherrill. That's simple. I'm sure there were some problems. I'm sure people voted that shouldn't have voted, but it wasn't that big. But it's still an issue. And everyone should show an ID to vote. I got to show an ID when I get a pack of cigarettes. I got to show an ID when I buy alcohol. I got to show an ID for when I get on the plane. I got to show an ID for everything. So why not show an ID for voting?
Right.
It makes
Let's get a couple other perspectives in here. So, Jonathan, I see you smiling at us. I'm sure that you have an opinion.
Yeah, and I really don't want to get into a back and forth on this. I want to just say respectfully, Damon, disagree with a lot of what you said. I think the right to vote is sacred. It's sacred in our democracy. Participation is critical. Whether it's and thanks to everyone who's listening tonight, participating in forums like this. I will also say I appreciate Republicans, Democrats, Independents on this forum tonight. There's a lot that we agreed on mental health and on critical access to programs. So I appreciate that. But the issue here is voter engagement and voter education. From a county perspective, there's a lot that the county commissioners can do to improve access to voting, and I think that's really critical here. And so not only building trust, right? And Randy and Brian are doing a fantastic job in their current positions out in the community, building trust in government, building those connections, and that's a big piece of it. But then also the nuts and bolts of actually running elections, which is a county and a state prerogative. So I will leave it there, but there's a lot of work to be done here.
All right.
Do you mind if I just ask one question before anyone else goes? What is holding anybody back from voting? We have mail-in ballots, we have early voting that's already started, and then we have election day. So what's holding anybody back from voting? I'm just curious before anybody wants to answer.
I would suggest that that's a conversation, not necessarily for this type of forum, that you can have with my colleagues. My answer to this question is a simple one. I got my start in politics as an 8-year-old kid with my father, who was a ward politician in Philadelphia, putting me in the back of a pickup truck and my brother and I stapling campaign signs for candidates to the telephone poles in Northeast Philadelphia. I've run for elections for school board, obviously for council, as for mayor, and stood for several of them. So, and as a surrogate. I have a lot of views and on the importance of, and to give you some context of that time frame, I started when I was 8 and I just got my Medicare card. So, you can do the math, but I have a lot of views on that. Unfortunately, I am sitting as a member of the judiciary in my role as the surrogate. I am barred by the rules of judicial conduct from making comments on that type of question, because of the political nature of it. So I'm going to respectfully defer but I do have views on it, and but I can't answer.
And I respect your response, Brian, and thank you for bringing us to the last word. So I want to thank all of you for joining us today. I'm going to give you 1 minute each to go around and do your pitch, and then we will move to closing. So I'm going to start, Brian, since you respectfully dropped out of that question. I'm going to start with you to give us your 1 minute pitch.
As I've always done, I'm standing before the voters and asking for them to give me another term in office. And I do so based upon asking you to look at my experience and background. 40 years as a practicing attorney, a large part of that being involved in the probate practice. I wrote wills, and none of them have ever been rejected by surrogates courts or registered wills. And my performance, my office staff of 7, as I said, we got through the recovery from COVID, got all that backlog done probably within about 9 to 10 months, and we're able to open the office to the public by June of the following year. That's a quick time frame, but more importantly, we open about 3,500 cases a year. We have entered about 8,000 or 7,500 orders a year. So I stand on my record. I stand shoulder to shoulder with the staff of 9 that I have, and ask you to look at the work, and hopefully you will find that you would like to invite me back for another term.
Thank you. Jonathan, 1 minute or less.
Tammy, thank you so much for keeping us moving. We've covered an incredible amount of ground here in just about an hour, and you have an unruly group of people here to keep organized. So thank you, and thanks again to Alpha Kappa Alpha for hosting all of us. These conversations are so important, and really, really pleased to be a part of it. I bring this is my first time running for office, but I'm looking forward to bringing a lot of experience working on the state and the local level, chairing the Burlington County Library Commission for the last 7 years, and building upon that experience and bringing some of our good ideas and building upon them, and hopefully joining the county commissioner board. I'm so grateful to be running alongside of Randy and Brian, who have a wealth of experience, and just encourage everyone to go out and vote. As I see flash up here a couple of times, early voting is open now through Sunday, and then election day is Tuesday. So if you have a vote by mail ballot, please return it. If you're looking to vote early, get out there. And then Tuesday, the big day, polls are open until 8 p.m. So ask for your support, and looking forward to earning every single vote.
Randy.
Yes, I want to thank Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated. My sister actually is a member, and a couple of my cousins are as well. You really did herd the cats today, because we all have different backgrounds and different views, especially when it comes to voting. I'm going to continue my tenure as a county commissioner and keep doing what I've been doing, is being a part of the community, come up with new ways and new ideas to be a part of the community, support our local businesses, support our people with special needs, support affordable housing, and to support our people that are coming to the county, because we have the lowest. I don't know if you know this. You probably did mention it. We have the lowest taxes countywide in the state of New Jersey. So we're going to continue to keep that while services are going up. Our taxes are going to remain stable. So thank you everybody for showing up tonight.
You're welcome. Damon.
Well, first off, thank you very much for having me tonight. And tonight wasn't just about politics. It's about the future of our communities and whether everyday people feel represented by their government. And that's the most important thing. And I appreciate you guys going back and forth. Like I said, I'm the only Republican on the panel. I used to be a Democrat myself, and I switched parties back in the day because I stated that I didn't leave the Democrat Party. They left me. But I'm not a career politician. I'm a husband, I'm a father, construction worker. I mean, whether we agree on every issue or not, I believe we can still work together to improve affordability, strengthen our communities, and support economic opportunity and restore trust in public leadership. I think it's very important. So I do wish you guys luck. It's not about the party, it's about the person. Yes, I am a Republican. I have conservative values and views, 100%. But this was great. It was great to have a conversation with you, because I'll tell you one thing, and I always look at Democrats now. They don't want to have a conversation. They don't want to come on my podcast. I have the America's Post Network's Jersey Shore podcast, and I ask Democrats to come on all the time, and they won't have the conversation, but you guys did. So I love it.
Thank you. And Michael, your last word.
I want to say thank you for having the opportunity to speak for the very first time today. And I know there's a lot of senators out there that are just dirty, money-hungry liars. But if you elect me as senator on day one, I will make sure that all murderers, rapists, and pedophiles get the death penalty. I will make sure that every school is safe and secure. We are going to end the school shooting epidemic. I'm going to call out all the big retail stores and make sure that they lower their prices, or else we're going to switch to local small businesses and remind all Americans that Christ is King. And I want all of you, all of my viewers that are watching this, to send this live stream to all the major news outlets, Fox News, CNN, NBC, everyone, and let them know the American Supreme Order has arrived.
Thank you all for joining us today, and I am going to turn this back over to Vice President Tisha Middlebrooks, but I want to thank you and thank our listening audience for the questions that they provided to us.
I would like to thank all of our candidates for taking the time to share your platforms with us this evening. We wish each of you continued success throughout your campaign. As a reminder, early voting is available at select locations, or you may cast your vote on June 2nd. As a chapter, we remain committed to educating, empowering, and encouraging informed civic engagement within our community. I would like to share 2 exciting upcoming events for Pi Mu Omega Chapter. First, we are celebrating our 40th anniversary on June 27th, 2026 at the Westin Hotel in Mount Laurel, New Jersey from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. This is a wonderful time of fellowship, reflection, and sharing memories of the many ways we have served our community together over the years in Burlington County. We would love you to come join us for this special occasion. We will have open bar all 4 hours and buffet and a cocktail hour. We also would like you to save the date for our cabaret homecoming edition, which will be held in Morristown, New Jersey on Friday, October 2nd from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. We invite everyone who enjoys music, dancing, and fellowship with family and friends to come out and support this exciting fundraiser. Proceeds will help support our chapter programs and scholarships. Thank you again for watching this important program, and we wish you a blessed and wonderful night.
Yeah. This one's for New Jersey. For every working family that's had enough. Name's Damon Galdo. And I'm just getting started. Job site dust to the streets of the shore. Steel-toed boots, yeah, I know what I'm working for. Middle class hurting, every bill going up. While suits in DC say, man, just trust us. I'm a builder by trade, put my sweat in the ground. Now I'm building up hope for my hometown. Jersey's my home, blue collar sold. I don't make excuses, I get it done, that's all I know. I felt the pressure, I've lived that grind, trying to give your kids a better life. I won't forget where I came from, man, cause I'm built by work, built by hands. I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. Not a career man who forgot what hard work means. They talk real big, but nothing ever changes. While Jersey keeps drowning in the same old pain, I'll build a future strong for our kids in this land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. Yeah. Donald Norcross been there year after year. Same old story while the struggle's still here. Claims he's for workers, but look around town. Rent sky high, grocery bills breaking us down. Where's the relief for the middle class grind? Cause all I see is folks falling behind. I ain't got decades in some DC chair. I got skin in the game, cause my family's here. Time, they had their shot, and tell me, Jersey, what have we got? It's time for change, time for a stand, time for a work, and not another plan, not another plan, not another plan. Yeah! I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. Not some suit who sold you fantasy. We waited long enough, it's time to demand a future built by honest hands for Jersey strong, for this great land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. Yeah, this ain't left, this ain't right. This is fight for what's right. For every mom working double shifts, every dad praying they don't miss. I'm running for my kids, running for yours, for a state that deserves so much more. Not talk, that's the plan. Let's build it back with a working man. For our children's dreams, for a better way. I'll fight for Jersey every day. No empty words, I'll take the stand. Cause I'm built by work, built by. Yeah, I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. While the old guard keeps playing the same old game. But we're done with waiting, done with excuses. It's time for a man who knows how to do this. I'll build a future strong for our kids in this land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. New Jersey 1st District. If you're tired of the talk and ready for work, walk with me. Galdo, Galdo. Galdo, Galdo. Galdo, Galdo. Make the crowd chant with no music.
The Hammer thanks you for watching tonight's Jersey Shore podcast. See you at the next packed show, from breaking news to topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified of upcoming episodes. If you like what The Hammer talked about, then share the Jersey Shore podcast to others. Damon also looks forward to seeing you on the next episode.